All right, friends, I'm running a 60-second ad break, and when that break is over, then our stream will begin. I hope everyone's doing excellent out there on the old internet. It's a Saturday evening. I hope you're ready for fun times, good conversations, just a general sense of being together and enjoying some nonsense. We got, of course, nonsense to talk about tonight. We'll chat about a bunch of different things, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of um, like strike stuff, the Writers Guild strike stuff, um, a little bit of being mad at at various companies and knowing which companies to be mad at and which companies maybe not to be mad at. Yeah, I'm excited to chat with everybody tonight. It might be a very casual evening. We're waiting for the 60-second ad break to conclude, and then we'll get started. But yeah, this could be uh lightly attended. Who knows? Who fucking knows? But we're gonna get started in just a moment or two, and so I would request that you get ready for it because it's coming your way. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and then start a thing that looks like a Lego set, but definitely is not a fucking Lego set. And of course, to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you feel like being a lurker, you could just lurk, and that would be cool too. We got Lastwork here. We got Ghost Valve here. Welcome to both of you. Happy to have you here. Should say right off the bat, it is September. If you want to save money on being a subscriber, you could do that. This would be a good time to do that. If you wanted to become a subscriber, you could. I'm going to put that on there. You can save 25% off a 1 or 3 month subscription and 30% off a 6 month. And then not today, but soon, very soon from now, you'll be able to save money on gift subs, which is pretty neat. Tonight's agenda, model kit building. We've got the Barbatos 6th form. One of the only kits, once I'm done with this, there'll be one kit that is in the high grade from Iron Blooded Orphans that I have not built. A kit that was in my backlog for 2 years. It's finally time to finish the fight with this kit, and we're going to wrap that up by building the backpack and the weapon. Should not take too long. Did not want to stay on Thursday to do it, just a little bit. Could have, didn't. So we'll finish that up tonight, and then we're going to start the Return to Future Delorean building kit. Building car, I should say. The Return to Future Delorean building car. This is from UFOI. They are an outfit, as far as I can tell, that exists only on Amazon. They build Lego that is definitely not Lego. Do they have the license to Back to the Future? No. Lastbrook, it is closer to Kishida's car than the actual DeLorean from Back to the future version, which they are attempting to duplicate here. This shit, UFOI, your toy, your joy. You'd be not surprised to know that this kit originates in Shenzhen. You would not be surprised by that at all. Also, the sticker here says Back to Future. And you're like, oh, so on the box they call it Return to Future, but on the back they say Back to the Future. No, on the back they say Return. The front, they say Return to Future. On the back, the sticker says Back to Future. Both of them do not include the. Also, their email, which I said in the before, is customer_service@amazonbricks.com. And I fucking bet that Amazon does not know that they use amazonbricks.com as an email. I bet. That's just my guess. Shenzhen Xiaohongqiang Network Technology Company in Shenzhen, China. Anyway, we'll get to that later. It's a whole fucking thing. We're going to build a model kit. We're going to hang out. I got a bunch of things to chat with you all about. Good things, bad things, maybe good things, all kinds of stuff. Anime in the second hour. We got 2 shows to chat with you about. The second to last episodes of 2 shows, because I thought it would be the last episode of one of them, but that show has 13 episodes. Fuck yeah, we get one more, which is cool. Also, it's the first day of fall, and that doesn't really mean anything. Doesn't really mean anything. It's a little cooler today than it has been for me, your friend Pat, because it's been quite warm. It's not quite warm right now, but it's still warm. Anyway, boom, overhead camera. Let's go. Oh, we're currently at 41 out of 50 subscribers. The goal is always 50. I shut up at 50, and we're at 41, which is not close to 50, but that's where we're at. It's okay. When we drop below 40, if and when we drop below 40, will I change the number to 40 to try to get to 40 first? Yeah, I'll probably do that. Because like 37 out of 50 feels impossible. 37 out of 40 feels doable. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. Let's build the backpack for this kit, and let's get into it. We talked about this numerous times here, talking about the Writers Guild of America, the WGA. We've talked about their current strike. We've also talked about the Screen Actors Guild slash the SAG-AFTRA strike, which are independent strikes from one another. They are both looking for support from each other, certainly. And there's a lot of like, well, that shows a WGA show that people are crossing the picket line to do. We'll also go and support that, even though that's not our union, show or whatever. And the same thing for SAG-AFTRA. Folks from Writers Guild America are striking outside of studios that are, that have those contracts up as well. So it is a mutual benefiting agreement here with support. So the latest is that the AMPTP, who represent the studios, almost all studios, not every studio, but most studios, because a few studios, smaller studios, have made agreements already. But the AMPTP met yesterday and today and gave the Writers Guild of America an offer, and Variety, is in 100% the pocket of studios, says that the AMPTP gave the WGA its best and final offer. And the Guild is expected to respond on Sunday, which is tomorrow. Now, is it their final offer? No, it's not. Because what if the Writers Guild says, no, we don't like it. Here's more negotiations. Or are they just going to never make movies again? Nah, that's not going to happen. So what does this mean? What is best and final offer? Well, also, we don't know what the offer is, right? It could be good. It could be a good offer. It being the best offer doesn't also really say anything, because their offers previously have been dog shit. So it could still be technically correct that it's the best offer that has ever been given, and still bad. Do we think, they're definitely going to be done on Sunday? Also, if the Writers Guild of America says, yeah, you know what? We like this. That it's not over. It has to go to a vote. And there are days in which the Writers Guild members can vote on ratifying this contract. So it's not like on Sunday it's all over. Yes, last week, we will get that in a second. The spin that is out there that is contradicted by its own spin, which is very funny. But in general, yes. So there still has to be ratification. There still has a bunch of people have to be voting for it. There's still a lot that has to go through the processes there before anything really gets in motion. And I should also say, of course, it doesn't have to go to a vote, because the Writers Guild of America committee members who are in charge of negotiations could be like, this sucks. We're not going to be putting this in front of people to ratify. Here's our counteroffer. You ignored us on these things. Now, you also may have heard, as Last Week mentions, that the AMPT, through their sources, through their leaks to sources, a general reminder, the Writers Guild does not leak stuff like this. They only respond to the members of the guild generally on things, because both sides are supposed to not be leaking information, although leaks happen from the studio side, which are generally considered to be most clearly actually just like shenanigans from their PR. Let me see here. Okay. So there was a Variety article. Again, Variety's going to come up a lot. Deadline will come up a lot. Variety, certainly. CEOs stay late in marathon bargaining session with the WGA. This is an article that was put out 2 days ago about the Thursday leading into the Friday leading into the Saturday. So CEOs stay late in marathon bargaining session with WGA. And then if you read the article, you will discover that this here. 4 Hollywood CEOs returned to the bargaining table Thursday for a second day of talks with the Writers Guild of America, as the industry looked for signs of progress toward a deal that would end the 143-day strike. As of shortly after 6 p.m., CEOs were still in the room in Sherman Oaks as a marathon bargaining session continued. That's what they mean by marathon. They were there after 6 p.m. on a Thursday. They don't even work on Fridays. That's cutting into their long weekend. What? Just they gotta fix this. What? It's gonna be fall any minute now. Just accept our proposal, please. So yeah, great job, everybody. Everybody's doing great. There were other leaks we talked about it on Thursday. Like that. The pressure is on. If they don't go with this one, then the strike won't end until next year. Because it's like, why? Because the CEOs, they're just going to stop negotiating. I mean, they could do that. It'd be weird. Basically, there's not going to be any summer movies. If you were excited about 2024 summer movies, the only summer movies you're going to see are rights imported from foreign countries, so rights for distribution. It's possible. And you'll see some movies that have been mothballed for a while, suddenly coming out of mothballs. But, I mean, yeah, so the Big Tent, that's done. We're not getting that. TV, we'll theoretically, some of those things will be coming back easy enough. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some stuff that just isn't there because this strike went on for a very long time. And because the strike will continue while the designated time for the guild members to vote happens, this is the longest Writers Guild strike ever. Because of the amount of time, the dedicated amount of time for reviewing and allowing people time to vote. It's going to be the longest strike in their history. There's no way it can't be. And of course, the CEOs I was talking about there are Disney, Warner Brothers, NBC Universal, and Netflix. Those are the representatives. Zaslav, who everyone should listen to because he's clearly making baller moves. That dude knows what's going on. Iger, who is clearly excited about unions at any way, shape, or form. Donna Langley, who is a lot of times apparently just like seems to be the fall woman in a lot of this. And Ted Sarandos from Netflix, and Netflix shows keep talking about new seasons of shows that haven't filmed yet, as if this strike is just going to end any minute now. They're like, for international audiences, talking about U.S. productions as if they're definitely going to be happening, but obviously not saying why they aren't happening, which is just funny. So anyway, that's that stuff. That's silly and terrible in many different ways. Let me do another terrible quick hit. If you have ever purchased things from the anime store, Right Stuff with one F, if you've ever purchased stuff from Right Stuff, very soon you will not be able to purchase things from them. And instead, you will be buying things from the Crunchyroll store. Because after acquiring them, it has been a month after Right Stuff will cease to be a thing. It's all going to be the Crunchyroll store. RightStuffAnime.com. Now, so basically they sent out coupons, and those coupons were for the Crunchyroll store, and that was not a mistake. October 10th, they will be shutting down post the acquisition. And they said that, in August, when this merger was happening, they were like, hey, there's not going to be any brand changes. This isn't a merger. We just got bought by people that have money, and we're excited about the future. And they spun it like that. And people were like, well, it'll take a little while before that gets fucked up. It did not take a little while before that got fucked up. It got fucked up basically right the fuck away. It is fucked up now. Now, it is important to remember, and I tried to say this, and I've seen this written so many places. Crunchyroll is shutting down Right Stuff Anime. Well, Crunchyroll bought Funimation and then shut that down too. Well, Crunchyroll is doing this, and it's all Crunchyroll holiday sale and all this other stuff, and it's just like, hey, why aren't you saying Sony? It's almost like Sony going with Crunchyroll's name instead of the Funimation name when they merged them together and decided to get rid of one of them is because Crunchyroll, to a lot of people, is still an independent company. They don't associate it with Sony, who owns Crunchyroll, Funimation, Aniplex, Watum, another one, Anilabs, like that. Other than High Dive, and Netflix and Amazon Prime, that Sony owns all of animation streaming. So this is, and maybe that is what's happening here. That is what's going on there. I should say the article here, Silicon Era, says at the end of their article, which they have not corrected, this isn't the first time Crunchyroll acquired a large Western anime company. In March 2022, Crunchyroll also acquired Funimation and all of its licenses, which again, they didn't do that. That's actually a lie. Funimation was owned by Sony. Sony acquired the parent company that owned Crunchyroll and then merged the two together. It's Sony. It's not Crunchyroll. But people are just like, that fucking Crunchyroll. Like, I remember when they were just putting up illegal street torrents and stuff. And look at them now, buying up their competition and fucking over everybody. Like, have they forgotten their roots? And it's like nobody that did that still works there. Don't worry about it. But also, it's that nobody at Crunchyroll made the decision to do this. This is a different thing. And yeah, it's like people are just like, and you look at the comments of this article, and it's just a bunch of people talking about Crunchyroll and Crunchyroll and Crunchyroll, and like nobody says Sony or anything like that. And it's very good and smart of them. And then Crunchyroll killed it. There is one person that says Monopoly, yay. I should say also that my comments being like, hey, correction. I don't know. My assumption is that my comments just haven't gotten approved because I don't often comment on this site. I'm not saying there's a great conspiracy in Lauren Palmer of this website, Silicon Era, is stifling my creativeness because they don't want Sony mad at them or any dumb nonsense like that. But it is very funny that everyone is just blaming Crunchyroll for this. Uh, uh, Although, oh, looks like hey, I should amend that. I should amend that. One person did actually write about this, which is great. Someone did say, um, uh, let's see. Let me find the comment here. Well, that wouldn't be the case if they weren't acquired by Sony. Not many news outlets mention that fact. Yes, I'm going to hit the thumbs up. I'm going to hit the thumbs up on that one. Because the comment they're replying to is like, it's pretty insane that a for-profit piracy site has managed to cement itself as a monopoly over anime distribution in the U.S. So it's like, well, they haven't. They got bought by Sony. Uh, yeah, it's thanks Sony. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. Um, yeah, that I mean, obviously, it sucks for people that have relationships with that company that were buying things from there that had good experiences. I have not personally bought something from them, but I do know plenty of people that had good a really good working relationship with that company, and it sucks. Monopolies are obviously awful. The merger of the purchasing of Crunchyroll by Sony should not have been approved. It is a shame that it was. They should not have allowed those people to merge because almost immediately Crunchyroll got rid of their for new releases, not old stuff, but new stuff, new seasonal anime. There is no 1 week delay with ads. And then they also raise their price in most countries. So it's just like one of those things you're just like, oh, it's so weird that without incredible competition, because High Dive doesn't really fucking have a ton of stuff to compete with them. That it's so weird that without competition, suddenly prices changed. So strange. So strange. We'll talk about two shows that I watched on Crunchyroll later because they still the best way to watch that stuff, unfortunately. All right, so we talked about wrestling on Thursday. We spent a lot of time talking about the many layoffs that happened. I think a few more might have come out. Eichmann Jiro also got released from NXT. But the big one that came at 5 p.m., end of day on Friday, is the original bro, Matt Riddle, has been released from the WWE. This is, I would say, from a cultural standpoint, Dolph Ziggler, former world champion, heavyweight world champion, it's probably a bigger deal. Also, he was there like almost 20 years. He was basically a lifer, so that is probably a bigger deal. But as far as placement on the card, the biggest name of somebody who is high up there and, having world title challenges and having tag team gold and being like a name that people know, Matt Riddle is pretty high up there. I should also put at this point, there are numerous allegations against Matt Riddle of sex abuse. He sucks as a person, and so I'm not like, oh no, Matt Riddle is gone. Like, I said, I said this in private, and I'll say it in public. It's nice to have one release that doesn't feel bad, because it doesn't. The release of Matt Riddle, to me, does not feel poor. That feels like, yeah, all right. Yeah, fuck you. Get out of here. Get gone and stay gone, Matt Riddle. I'm not gonna worry about that shit. I'm not gonna feel bad that he's not part of the company anymore. Uh, Good riddance to bad rubbish. There is some talk about perhaps why Um, uh, and it sounds like he just kept burning through chances because he would have personal demons. He would have some issues that are certainly you feel for any human that are facing those. There was a whole thing where he accused um, uh, JFK airport employees or TSA employees of misconduct, and then there were basically a statement saying like, "Hey, uh, Matt Riddle was intoxicated at the airport." Like, I don't know, and then he deleted those comments, and if there were any formal charges being made, it has not happened yet. It certainly could happen. I'm not saying it won't. But lots of stuff. He had lots of suspensions for violating their wellness policy, which is kind of like who the fuck cares. As far as WD is concerned, it's a lot of who the fuck cares. But for other people, that is something to care about. And then they also thought that maybe one thing that came up, because some people were like, well, he's an MMA guy. He's a former MMA guy. So, like, the merger between UFC and WWE, like, oh, he's going to sit pretty, right? Because now they've got this, like, legit guy, in the company. They're going to love that. Well, no, he had a really, I'll describe this as messy. It was not a good departure between him. It was not a good parting between him and UFC. So, like, that's probably not the slam dunk that some people might think. All right, how am I supposed to put this together? I got to look really closely here. This is a big like mallet, but also becomes like a jaw blade, like a crusher. So I got to put this together right so that eventually it can open up. Okay, so it needs to go like this. Great. I do love the close-up photo in color because I messed this up the first time. So hopefully I can do it right now. Is that how that's supposed to look? Let's see. That looks right. And then this has got to go in here. Make sure that I'm doing that right. Okay. So then this goes like this. And then this goes up and down. I want to say I did that right, but this is sticking out farther than I think it should, so I might not have. So let's separate these two, and we're going to do it again. Use our spudger here to separate. Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you just got to separate the parts and try again from a different angle. Anyway, I don't expect to hear more. Actually, I should change that. There was another Performance Center name. It's somebody who didn't even get a wrestling name. It was just a real name that was released. That was like a 22-year-old that had been at most like in the background for NXT things in a group shots, but not like on camera. Again, hadn't received a name or a gimmick or anything, so we don't know anything about her. More of those Performance Center releases will probably come out in the future because as people hear about them, but because they're not getting leaked to Sean Ross Sapp or anybody else, like Fightful's not hearing about them. So it makes it harder for other people to hear about them. Okay, so this needs to go here like this. Yeah, because it's not sliding in and out. It's sliding up and down. And then where'd the other piece go? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, yeah. So this just pops open up and down. This slides up and down. Okay. We are now ready for the next step of this big mallet. We're getting close to being done with our kit, though, which is cool. We'll be able to put a pin in this, and then we'll start the not Lego, the UFOI. Return to Future Delorean. We're almost ready for this nonsense. All right. Let's get this on here. That is number 2, which goes on that side. Great. All right. Let's see. Other things that we can chat about as I go to figure out how this goes together here. This goes like this. This has got to go. It goes. Like that? Yeah. It goes like that. Okay. Let's see here. Unity. We can talk about Unity. They've posted about all of. They finally made a post. They said like, "Hey, we're going to pull back some stuff. We're going to figure some stuff out. We're still talking about it. We'll make a statement." They did make a statement with their new plan, and basically, if the only parts that have been drastically changed is if you used an old version of Unity, you're pretty okay. If you got Unity Personal, you should be all right. Now, if you the runtime fee, which is their thing, if you remember correctly, or you remember before, where they were like, "Hey, if people are installing your game, you owe us money for every install." The changes that happened with that basically are, okay, well, that only applies in new versions of it, because in 2024 there's going to be a new version of Unity, and so it'll just be for that. So we're getting rid of the retroactive problems. So it basically means until they have to, games are not going. Developers are not going to update. Does this fix everything? No. Does this fix anything? A little bit. People that are doing the personal, that aren't even going to put their game out, it's probably going to be better for them. Folks in app stores, this does seem better. There was a whole thing about for games that are subject to the runtime fee, we're giving you a choice of either 2.5 revenue share or the calculated amount based on the numbers of new people engaging with your game each month. And both these numbers are self-reported. The self-reporting thing is the thing where they're just like, "Oh yeah, well, just ask Microsoft. If you're on a service, just ask them to report the numbers." And it's like, what, you think everybody has those numbers? What are you talking about? What are we talking about here? It's a bunch of nonsense. It's just a bunch of nonsense. No game less than $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue will be subject to the fee, and that just, all that stuff is bad. Yes, as John says, it's hashtag nonsense. Basically, the long and short of it, the easiest way to describe what happened here is they didn't pull back enough. They pulled back so that people who don't want to be mad at them, when everyone else is, can say, "Oh, look, they made concessions. Well, they made some promises, or that this was short-sighted, but they're making a conscientious effort to fix this shit. So we should give them the benefit of the doubt." And just shit like that, they're just doing that. They're not doing a good job of that, but they are doing that, and that's nonsense. Anyone who is thinking about where they're going to build their next game, this does not change it. This does not change the fact that they did not pull it back, that they're still going to do it. They're just doing a lesser version of it. That they still don't have a good way of knowing how many downloads happened, an activity. They have no good way of knowing that. And if they did, it would be illegal in the European Union, whatever method they do have. So they have to say self-reporting, that they don't have the agreement from publishers. They don't have agreements with any publishers about this. The fact that there still might be a class action lawsuit because they changed people's they were trying to change people's deals retroactively. The idea that they could just do it again at any time. There is no trust now. But developers that are already on that engine are always going to be waiting for the other shoe to drop. Anyone starting something new is just going to 100% have to bail out at some point. It is unbelievable how much they fucked up. Obviously, going public was a huge mistake, because now they have to constantly be making more and more money, and not just be a successful business, because now they have shareholders to answer to who don't know what's going on, and they have and their former CEO is on the board, but seemingly has no power at all to be like, hey, so you have your current CEO who is a nightmare person, and you have your former, and just seems to have no idea how not to fuck up a good thing. Will there be an exodus from the company of employees? I don't know if it'll be an exodus, but like anyone working there should definitely be thinking about their next move. Okay. Sorry. Because Unity is, it's not going to bankrupt them, but like it's not good. Like people are not going to be excited about Unity for developers. Like, our game's, using this, so I've got to deal with it, but I'm not happy. All right, let's get a nice photo of the Barbatos 6th form. We've built the Barbatos. We built the Barbatos Lupus Rex. Now we have the 6th form. Let's take a look at this photo. That's great. We're going to keep the basher open. You do remove this part here if you want to close it together, and then you slide it down, and then you've just got it like that. But we don't need to worry about that shit. If I was going to display this kit, which I might, I don't know, it might join the pile. If I displayed this kit, I would probably do the two hands holding method, which I'll show you now. And I would have it open, because why the fuck not? Why wouldn't I want to show you that the cool part of it? But anyway, yeah, Unity, not much to say there, except like, fuck Unity. Get out of here. Get out of here with your dumb shit. And a little too late, and this does not fix anything, and these are not solutions, and all that stuff. Like, good job burning your company to the ground. Yeah, I would hold this like this if I was gonna display the kit, because that just looks rad as hell. But I'm not gonna be displaying this, I don't think. Anyway, we're done with that. Now for this bullshit. Return to future Delorean car. We gotta do this here, and then I gotta go into that. And delete that. Great. So here it is, the Return to Future DeLorean car. This is the box that comes in. This is the instruction manual, which happens in a lot of different Lego as well. So that's fine. We'll get a little chat about this before we get into it. It does have a part separator. It comes with a part separator. If you're like, oh, Pat, that's just the one that you have. You have plenty of them, right? No. Can you tell the subtle differences between the Lego part separator and the included UFOI part separator? Can you? You may notice that this says Lego. And this doesn't say anything. And this has a weird little circle there, which are on some of the bricks that we will be using tonight. Has this little circle as well. And then if you look in the back here, one of these is almost translucent. And these grooves are not that deep. And this is different slightly than this. There are little pegs here to help grip to remove. And they're there, but they're not as deep. And also, like I said, this is almost translucent, especially from the sides. I bet this is ass, but we're going to use it if we need to separate any bricks, because we should use the one it came with. I gotta zoom out of this. I zoomed in too much. Zoom back. I'm zooming back. So this, I took all the parts out of the box here. The numbered bags have no bearing on order of build. So it did come with a bunch of numbered bags, but it's like, no, just follow the instructions. we know it said numbered. It has numbered bags, but we're not that clever yet. We can't do that shit. I feel like the numbered bags are so that they have an idea of how many they gave you. That's my thought. My thought is that is what they're doing here. They're trying to figure out how many parts are in there. You know, it's got its color. It would kind of have to be. Again, customer_service at amazonbricks.com is their website, is their email. The fact that they call themselves Amazon Bricks is very funny to me. And it looks like you can take the engine part in the front off if you'd rather it just look like more like a regular DeLorean, I guess. This is the Return to Future DeLorean building car. That's what it says here. That's what it says here. The box does say Back to Future, not the future. Made in China, of course. Ufoy, your toy, your joy. This is I believe that the box is the only place that says Ufoy. I do not believe that anywhere in this manual it says Ufoy. Anywhere else. Yeah, I think it just says Amazon Bricks, which it's saying Amazon Bricks is on purpose, right? It's to make outer front motor stuff is from 3. Yes, throttle bottom. The motor on the outside is from 3. Yes. They know what the Back to the Future DeLorean looks like. They're trying to make it. They're trying to do their unlicensed Return to Future DeLorean building car. But yeah, Ufoy is nowhere there. Amazon Bricks is trying to make it seem like this is an Amazon company. This is, like official. But then the box does say that. And then there's one other thing in here, and we're gonna part separate here. We're gonna brick separate in a second. Hey, what the fuck? Why are there sprues in here? Actual Lego has all 3 variants, indeed. Thank you, Throttle Bottom. What are these? Why do we have these? Why do we have things? Do I need my snipper clips for this? Is this just because of the car? It came with car parts? Are we going to use these in anything? I don't know. I have no fucking idea what's up with these things. Why they're here? Why we have 4 sets of them? Why did this fake ass Lego set come with sprues? Why does this thing have sprues? I don't fucking know. It's so weird to me. Anyway, this is not going to be I think I don't, we're not going to build in an hour, but we'll finish it on Monday. This is not going to be a hard build. There may be times where it's confusing. I will say they do the thing that a bunch of companies do, which I really like, is it's a black piece on a black piece, so it's highlighted in red so you can see where it's supposed to go. I think that is very nice. That's good. I appreciate that. There are some things about this I'm like, oh, okay. We'll put a brick separator over here anyway. So we do need to just separate these by color. We're just going to put them where they need to be here. And then as I just start separating, let's see, is there anything else? LA Knight has COVID, apparently, which is a shame. Wrestler LA Knight. We'll get one more wrestling story in before we look at some video game stuff. So all the best to LA Knight, who is, as I said, diagnosed with COVID and had to miss SmackDown last night, which backstage stuff saying he was expected to be in the main event. And they didn't replace him. It's still a couple weeks before the next WWE pay-per-view, Fastlane. And supposedly he is going to be John Cena's tag team partner, which is huge for LA Knight. So we don't know if that is, if plans are going to change depending on how he is further, along with that, or if he is at 100% coming out of recovery from COVID. It could be very mild. It could be something that sticks with him for quite some time. We don't know, but we wish him the best because he's having a very good year and he is older than some people in his position. So hopefully he does well and recovers fully. We have some silver and some gray. I'm putting them together just because it'll be easier to find them. I'm just going to put the silver and gray together for this process, but in the future I might part separate them. And I'm going to try to keep my parts from sliding underneath the mat here. So yeah, we'll just throw... Well, there's dark gray. I'll kind of separate the dark gray here. So yeah, I'm just kind of separating, making my life easier. We're just going to get this, or knolling here, because it does make it easier to find the pieces that we need. Again, this will not be I'm not expecting this to be a complicated build. It might be annoying. I should also say, all these parts feel terrible. They feel like, it's hard to describe. That they don't feel brittle, but they feel like I could break these. I feel like if I used enough force, I could break this. Hey, Lord Crash didn't want me to hit the dance button. Sure, I'll hit the dance button. Thanks for using your channel points. I feel like if I put enough pressure on this, I could snap it. And I don't feel that with Lego. Even though, like the long Lego, like the 1x2x8 or whatever, or like 12, I don't feel like I could break those. All of these feel breakable. Maybe not like the smaller pieces, but like this, I feel like I could break this with its bullshit. Like, oh wait, there's a dimple, so it's different nonsense here. The same thing with the Mold King kit. We built the Mold King. I can grab it. I got it right here. We built the Mold King AE86 here. Mold King is different from UFOI so far. I think I like Mold King better because at least the kit I bought came with this cool plastic display case, which I think is rad. These didn't feel great, but they felt, and it came with stickers, which is fun. But that feels better than this. The UFOI kit that I'm currently part separating. All of these parts, like it feels like I should wash my hands when I'm done with the stream. I do often, but sometimes, model kit building, I'm like, whatever. But with this, it does feel like I gotta wash my hands when I'm done here. And I'm gonna put all the parts that we don't get to tonight, like back in the box. Because I just I'm just like not loving the vibes out of this. Oh, that's funny. Holy shit. So this part right here is used in a lot of kits. It's the lightsaber. This is the lightsaber part that is slightly different on the hilt, but this is the lightsaber part that Lego recycles for other things, and it's very funny that this is going to be a gear shift. I don't know what this is going to be, but that's in here, and that's just funny to me. Like, that's included in this. So much of this just kind of skeeves me out. I don't know. I like looking at this weird shit. A friend of mine sent me money to pick this kit up because she doesn't particularly like to use Amazon. But she did want me to build this. So she did Venmo me $20 so that I could pick this up, which I was like, sure, that works. That's still buying something off my wish list. It's more convoluted, but sure. And one of the reasons why this got added to my wish list was because we built the one Mold King kit. I'd like to explore other of these like knockoffs. It's kind of nice to know what's going on with this stuff. But one of the big reasons why I wanted to do this is because it said Return to Future. Like, they say DeLorean, but they don't say Back to the Future. They don't say, or BTTS. Like, they don't go in that route. But they're apparently fine with saying, well, it's a DeLorean. It's definitely a DeLorean. Because they could just call this Future Car, and it would be fine. Or Time Machine. Just call it Time Machine. And be like, yeah, it is a time machine. It's definitely that. Like you don't have to you don't have to go full force in this if you didn't want to, but apparently they did want to. And we're better off for it, I guess. Um, it is remarkable how many of these pieces just are Lego, like just that they're not Lego, but they are Lego. And I mentioned it earlier. It bears repeating for those that weren't there when I said it, or just in general it didn't quite catch with you. There were bags in this kit, and then the first instruction is open all the bags. They had numbered bags like Lego does to make your life easier, so you only need to open one bag at a time. But that they're like, no, we don't like. It must be for sorting so they can get all their pieces made. Lord Crashton says chaos mode in a bit, yeah. They could just do one big bag. They don't, but they could. Oh, this feels bad. I built a fake ass Lego case that looked like an NES for my my Raspberry Pi, and that felt better. Those fake Lego pieces felt better than any of both these and the Mold King. Mold King feels better than this. This feels actively bad. Like it just, yeah. This is not pleasant. Especially when it seems like there are only two colors in this kit. So there's a few others. I did know more. It's mostly gray and black, but there are like clear, the lights and stuff. There's one white piece which has to be part of the interior, I guess. But this kit is mostly gray, mostly light gray. There's a few dark gray parts too. There's one of the best pieces that Lego's ever made, the lasers for a spaceship, of course, which is has this weird hollowed out thing. Not every piece is hollowed out like that at the top. This just looks like a regular old Lego piece. Oh, that's going to be a bad example of that. I just realized that's bad. Okay, yeah. This just looks like a Lego piece. Just a 1x2 with a clamp there. Just a regular Lego piece. Nothing odd about that. But then this one is odd looking. I don't know. Might be the production, but it is strange. All right. We're going to move all of this over here. It'll be easier. I didn't know this ahead of time. I wanted to open the box up on stream. Yeah, this feels wonderfully terrible. Joyfully terrible. We're going to take a pause for the cause in a few moments, talk about ways you can support the channel, all that. I'm going to retweet my tweet, see if we can maybe get a few more friends to join us here on the old stream. Are people still on X? I don't know. There was a minor thing on X I didn't really get into. The minor thing on X was that the CEO shared like a video that someone had made, and in that video there is like people excited about Elon Musk's like shitty thoughts on Jewish people, and so she took that video down that she had posted. Just like, yeah, all right. Oh, Nick K boosted me on Mastodon. That's fun. Jeff boosted. Oh, that's so nice. Thanks, Jeff Gersman. Jeff Gersman gave me a re-skeet over on the wonderful people at Blue Sky. That's nice. Shout outs if you're a skeeter over there on Blue Sky. Find me there, Pat Bear on Blue Sky. I post somewhat consistently. Mostly it's advertisements for this. The only X I've enjoyed lately is Fast X. Well, there you go. That's a way to be. Okay, so this is going to go in like this. Why is this bent like that? Why does this have a bend to it? Why is it bent? I shouldn't ask questions about this thing. Then I need 2 of these. Got it. It's going to go on like here. Ooh, feels bad, man. Let's see. There was a title change on you know what? there was a title change, more wrestling stuff. There was a title change. The Hangman Adam Page and the Bucks, aka the Hung Bucks. They're the Ring of Honor trios, or the Ring of Honor 6-man champions. They say 6-man instead of trios, but yeah, that's fun. That's kind of fun. They're the trios champions again. That's kind of fun. That's good. Good on them. When they won the trios together, and that's when they really started bringing Hangman under their wing. That was kind of, you could argue, the start of the Elite, which, from a historical standpoint, that's pretty fun as far as wrestling goes. Well, all right. I'll say this. There's one last wrestling thing, and then we'll probably take a pause for the cause as I start to work on this kit. People are talking about Wrestle Dream, and that's all well and good. AEW Wrestle Dream. I want to talk about Wrestle Princess 4. Wrestle Princess 4 has a semi-main event that is wild for me to think about. Rika is putting her International Princess Championship, which is kind of like their Intercontinental title. It's their secondary title. She's putting that on the line against Max the Impaler in a title-for-title match, because Max is currently the NWA Women's TV Champion, which is like their secondary women's title. Max is non-binary. Max the Impaler, who is like a Mad Max kind of motif. Max, let's see, let me get all the pieces on here. Max is a former Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling Tag Champion, the Princess Tag Championship, which made her the first non-binary person in the company to win a title. And either Rika becomes an NWA champion, which is weird for an active Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling person to win an NWA belt. That would be a first, I believe. But if Max wins, then Max will be the first person in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling history, the 10-year history, to win a singles title. First non-binary person to do that. And that's just fucking cool. Max the Impaler rules. I am excited for them. I hope that all of this goes well. I would love for them to win, not just because I'm tired of Rika being in, having a title. I'm so glad that she's not up for the tag belts. It's so that she can do the singles. But yeah, I'm so glad she and Miyu didn't qualify for that. And then Miyu Yamashita is in the main event. Could Miyu, who won the Princess tournament, could she, which got her a title shot, could she defeat Mizuki? Possibly. Probably not, because Miyu Yamashita goes to the United States quite a bit, and she's kind of like probably ready to move on from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling like permanently. So like, I don't necessarily think that she's gonna win. I think it would be cool, because I think Miyu Yamashita fucking whips ass. She's just like a good fucking wrestler. I don't know. And I believe that Wrestle Princess 4 will be Sakiyaki's last match as Saki-sama, because she is on her retirement tour. So that'll be fun. Hey, Dirty, welcome. I'm working on the UFOI Return to Future Delorean, which is a knockoff Lego set that is... It's a thing that exists. You do have to really press down on these. Like, they interlock, but they fight you along the way. And if you're not careful, then you get like weird raises and bumps in places. I found that with the Mold King kit that we built. Of course, I only built one of them, but I found that to be true. That I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. So you got to be careful. All right, so what are these parts here? These are little things. I got to find where they are. because this is not organized. It's just organized by color. I didn't go deep on any of these, so you have to bear with me as I dig through all of the parts looking for this one part that I don't see in black, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. It just means that I don't see it. Also, could it be one of these weird things? Yes. It's our first, I believe, I'm gonna triple check, but I believe it's our first thing that requires snipper clips. We got to pull these off. Is there any indication that that's what this is? No. Is this right? I think. Is it weird that a fake Lego set has sprues that come with it? 100%. This shit is weird. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's what this is. Yes, that's what this is. The reason why I couldn't find this black piece in all of the black bricks over here is because it wasn't here. Because they're the ones on the sprue. Is that going to be the only thing on these sprues that we use? I don't know. It's so weird that I need snipper clips for a knockoff Lego set. That's so strange. I'm going to zoom out here just a little. Give it a little bit more oomph. This is all just black on black, so I know it's not going to look good in my setup, but bear with me. Before we get further into this, we're on step 8 here. Let's take a pause for the cause. Let's talk about ways you can support the channel here. Then we'll really be able to talk about some anime while I figure this shit out. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber, why don't you go ahead and throw the Barricade, the Lego, the site, the tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Let the people know. I want to thank everybody that is a subscriber because I don't get to do this cool shit without your support. You can use cash money. You could save money. It's September, so you could save money this month if you wanted to become a subscriber with exclamation point September, which is the information there. Let me just pop that in right there. Great, September. You can save some money. You could use your Prime Gaming token. If you have Amazon Prime link with your Twitch, you get that token. You could use it for anybody, but I would love it if you used it for me. It'd be great. Other things, you could gift a sub. Now in a couple days, so let's see, how many streams will that be where people can get? Yeah, so next Tuesday when we're watching some CPU for CPU matches in WWE 2K23, you could save money, and then that Thursday stream and that Saturday stream, if you wanted to gift a sub, you could save some money in the next couple days. But if you wanted to gift a sub right now, you could do that. We're trying to get to 50 subscribers. We're currently at 41. 41's a fine enough number, but I would love it if that was higher because it's great when the numbers go up. So if you wanted to gift a sub to somebody in the community, get them cool emotes, they don't see ads, you could do that. There are other ways to support me. Let me get into that. Because I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. There is a $1, a $3, a $5, and a $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon. It would help me out a lot. Also, I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBear. And if you went over to my YouTube channel, you could subscribe for free, and that would be awesome. You could also become a member there. And for just $2 a month, you would get my Wednesday videos, because I do a new Wednesday video every single week in a series. You get that on Tuesday. So it's a little bonus, a little something, something. You could do that. You could become a member over there. You could also just, subscribe and watch a couple videos, because that does help me. Those are monthly ways to support me, but what about a one-time donation? What if you just wanted me to buy something and get something that I could keep working on, in the future here? Well, you could go to my Ko-fi or my PayPal or my Stream Elements. You could do it like that if you wanted to. Everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, which includes AdSense, as I said, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and I buy model kits. I have a backlog. I've got a real grade kit, a couple high grades, some Lego. I got some Lego 3-in-1s. I got a good little, some kits, some more modern kits. I got a good little backlog of stuff in there. One premium Bandai kit in my backlog. But also, this Lego set, this fake-ass Lego set, not real Lego set, that I'm currently building, a friend of mine sent me some money and said, buy that thing off your Amazon wish list. Because I have an Amazon wish list. The next kit I'll be building after this is a model kit that I'll be working on that was bought by Aristofan off my Amazon wishlist. If you would like me to not build from my queue and instead build from stuff that you've decided I should build, you could just go. The easiest way is to go to my Amazon wishlist, buy something. It comes to me in the mail. I will make a dedicated YouTube video about the thing that you purchased. I will talk about it on stream. I've got Lego sets. I got model kits. I got inexpensive stuff. I got expensive stuff. Ooh, the Demi Barding model kit is currently $20 on Amazon. That's a good price. But yeah, prices fluctuate. There's free shipping. Sometimes there isn't free shipping. Sometimes stuff just like isn't available and like just says like buy more and it just isn't on the wish list. But it comes back like the Gundam Age Zadra, which looks rad, but also has like the red and orange colors of a Ava, and that's just kind of unusual. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there. I'd be happy to build it if you picked it up off my wish list. And again, it jumps the queue because that's the least I could do. And there's some, I gotta stop saying that because it rhymes. But there's also some gear because it's nice sometimes to have gear. We'll get back to building in just a second. My alternative to that is my Throne wish list. I got some stuff on Throne. There's also, I think there's categories for it, but I have like, you could just buy something on there that isn't on my wish list on Throne. Surprise gifts are just a thing. I don't know. You could do that. And then USA Gundam Store, the most convoluted way to support me. Go to USA Gundam Store, make an account, buy a gift card. You get an email with your gift card code, then DM me on Twitter because my DMs are open, or send me a whisper here on Twitch with that gift card code, and then I will, of course, use that gift card code and buy something from USA Gundam Store. The most convoluted way to support me. I have a Discord if you want to help me out and not spend any money. Discord is a lovely little spot, so check that out. On Monday, I will have the new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club. It was the one we recorded live on Tuesday. If you missed Tuesday's stream, check that out on Monday. If you missed my previous one where I talk about some anime that doesn't exist right now that I think should get made, manga that should be adapted in anime, and maybe some of the reasons why, you can watch that video. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series where every week I write a character piece, rehearse it a couple times so that I am hopefully off book, and then perform it. And this episode of Baerly Rehearsed is me doing a character. It is based on a joke that a friend of mine was doing about like, Pat, imagine if someone had to work out of your bedroom, like their office job, and they'd like call into a Zoom and they had like all of your shit in the background. And I was like, I will imagine that. And then I wrote a comedy piece based on that. And I think it turns out pretty neat. And it's got the most props of any of the videos I've done for Baerly Rehearsed, because I don't have access to a lot of props. So I think that worked out pretty good. John says, I feel called out on that. I mean, you know, look, the character I'm playing in there, like, so I should say this before we get, because we're gonna get back to model kit building and all that. I should say this. I don't keep the figures here, the model kits here that are on top of the two boxes. I take those down because that's my bed, as you can see by the bed frame. So these aren't up all the time. They're just up for the streams. This wall over here, the wall of boxes that just have painter's tape to the wall, that's always there. Just as I was mostly joking, I just identify with shit being behind me when I work on video calls. Totally. The box for a Pokemon model kit is there. The thing that I had up for a very long time and no one ever mentioned it until finally one day a friend of mine said, hey Pat, did you frame a box for a model kit? Yes. The Ultimate Gohan box. I cut it out and put it in a frame and hung it on my wall because I thought it was very funny. That stuff is always up when I am on second or third round interviews for day jobs. This is my backdrop. I don't do the fake out like Zoom call backdrop because it looks like I have something to hide and I don't. So Even if you see yourself there and you feel called out, just know I'm also calling myself out. Anyway, I have to drink some water, and we're going to dramatically transition. Oh, I hit my mic and it swung away. We're going to dramatically transition back to the overhead and continue working on this fake ass Lego bullshit and talk about some anime. And we're going to do that right now. I don't drink enough water during streams. I'm sweating. We have the air off because it got cool here. We're finally like, it is fall and we're kind of in fall. But it's still warm in here because of the numerous lights that I have on. I have 2 big lamps that are on most of the time. I have a light that's over here, phone to me. I have a light right here, right over here, that is pointed down. And it's a lot. John says, I had a coworker that retired recently and asked him to send me the view of his office. So now I use his office occasionally with background replacements as an homage. I love that, John. Lord Crashing says, Showtime heat. Indeed. We're going to get our first gray pieces in a second here after we put in what I believe to be, yes, these are going to be for the wheels. So we'll get these on. We do have to talk about some anime. We're talking about episode 11 to 12 of St. Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. And then we'll talk about episode 12 of 13. I thought it was only 12. It's a 13 episode for Undead Murder Farce. I'm so excited that Undead Murder Farce has another episode because I was like, ooh, they're going to wrap this up. They're going to wrap it up next week, I guess, but it's still going to be good. Okay, so I need a 1 by black. That's weird. That goes right on the other one. So hopefully there'll be some layering here. And then this is going to go, yeah, because that's a step up there. Okay. As always, folks, if I make a mistake on these, you can fix it. I should actually do, you know what? I say that. Let's try this part separator. Like, we don't need it right now, but let's just see if I can pull these apart. Okay, so right now I have 2 1x2s. They're stuck together. You can't really tell there, but there's 2 together. Now, normally, I can just remove one of them. By putting pressure a certain way, you can't, okay, I'll say that. This thing feels bad. It did do what I needed to. It removed the 1x2 from another 1x2. So that's pretty good. Yeah, all right, that's not bad. I will say this brick separator is already better than I would have assumed it would be. I don't think it feels good. None of this feels good, but I'll take it. You know, sure. Good job, I guess. All of this still feels very bad. Anyway, let's talk about this anime. Let's get into St. Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. This is episode 11. It's another flashback episode, but don't worry, it's the flashback that, like, you want. I can't even fucking talk about this. Because a thing happened in this booklet that I gotta talk to you about. It said I need 2 of these. It says, hey, you need 2. But I only need 1. I need 2 of these. I only need 1 of those. Where would I even put the other one? They got a fucking error in this. We found our first error in the booklet. I don't need 2 of those. Why does it say ×2? Is it because it says ×2 there? And ×2 over there? Like, what? I don't even know if there is a second one of those. Imagine if you were like, well, I need 2, and then you looked immediately and went, oh, I didn't need 2. Ah, God. This thing. You get what you pay for. And in my case, it's a weird experience. Scandal. Yeah, that's right. This is scandalous. Anyway, okay, so the main gist of this episode of St. Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence is they're back from their trip. They're getting settled in together. There was awkwardness last episode. a big portion of this is right now, Abel and Hazelita are living together, and they're wondering if Lawrence and Cecilia's relationship is ever going to like progress in any way, shape, or form, if they're ever going to get it together, and if they should maybe intervene or whatever, because like it's going to take forever before either of them not only understands their own feelings, but like makes the effort to share it between one another. The next Baerly Rehearsed topic, indeed. Let's see, we're going to do here. All right, put that there. Okay. Ooh, now we're building something away from the main piece, so we'll do that. Anyway, so they're talking about that. There's like, should we interfere? Shouldn't we interfere? We just got raided by Zombie Pie with a party of 7. Welcome, Raiders. Hello. We'll take a little pause here from talking about some anime that I've been watching. That usually happens in the second hour of a model kit building stream, as I talk about the anime I'm watching. To say hello. Hello, Raiders. I'm Pat Baer. If you don't know me, hi. I build model kits and Lego sets, and tonight I'm building a fake Lego set. You can see it in the show description of the stream here. The title of the stream, I should say. The Return to Future DeLorean knockoff Lego. They don't call it a knockoff Lego. They call it Return to Future instead of Back to the Future. But yeah, give me a follow if you'd like. I would love it. If you like model kit building and hanging out. I saw a Greek god burst out of Zeus's head, and now I'm scared for life, says Jatsu. Totally. I understand. I hear you, Jatsu. Jatsu. I don't know what you're talking about, but I understand. I feel you. Anyway, what's this thing? This is a UFOI. They're a knockoff Lego company. I have built one other kit from Mold King that is also a knockoff Lego company. They're better. So if you're looking for knockoff Lego on Amazon, I would recommend Mold King over UFOI. This is a fake-ass DeLorean from Back to the Future. It feels terrible. All of this feels terrible. Every piece of this feels bad. It's awesome how bad this feels. Like how the process of doing this feels terrible. I'm psyched about it. I bet it's going to turn, like, it's going to look like the photo, which is not great, but it's going to look like it. Anyway, before we got raided, which is awesome, and thank you very much, Zombie Pie, for the raid. We're talking about some anime. I'm not going to go through every moment of Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. Again, this is episode 11 of, oh, okay, I figured it out. In this box, this looks like white 1x2s. If you can see that there, it looks like white 1x2s. These are clear. They didn't have a good way to make clear look on this. Because when you look at the piece there, oh, that's clear. The clear just has like a white box underneath it. So it's not that they're missing any pieces, and I don't have to email them about missing pieces. It's that the missing piece is just, it's just they have the wrong color there. Yeah, all right, we're good. We're good now. Jesus. All right, I'm going to flip it over, put on some great pieces. So St. Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence is a lot of like flashbacks about how they met. Cecilia showed up. Well, basically, Cecilia showed up one day as a young person, and she was like, there's going to be a disaster. A disaster is coming. You have to get rid of the bridge because it's going to flood. There's going to be a flood. And everyone's like, yeah. You're just some weirdo. But throughout the course of this flashback, Lawrence recognizes, oh, this is a saintess, because his grandfather taught him a lot about saintesses. The saints, I should say, not saintesses. And he's like, oh, I believe her. what do I need to do to fix this? And they work together, and then everyone's just like, hey, thanks so much. You really are a saintess. You should stay here. And because Lawrence lived alone because his grandfather passed away, and he was a weird dude, and he's not weird. He's just like a quiet guy. And because she doesn't have any family to go back to, because we find out later in the episode, we don't know at the middle, but we find out later, oh, her grandmother passed away, and so she was living alone. They end up living together, and Lawrence makes it his job as he prepares to become a priest, or a pastor, I should say. He makes it his job to look after Cecilia, and that's how they have their relationship. And it's really cute. It's really nice. They end up living together. And they have a nice little conversation. She shares the fact that she lived with her grandmother and her grandmother in the woods and was taught all this stuff, and then her grandmother passed away. And, obviously it's a touchy subject, but she shares all that information with him. And they're growing a little closer. And he's now finally just starting to, kind of, sort of have an understanding about what his feelings may be for her, the second to last episode. So that's good. Do I think that there's going to be any progress between the relationship? Maybe in this next episode, they're going to, talk to each other and, figure out their relationship together. But I doubt it. I think most of the next episode is just going to be more pleasant, fun times. It is more likely, in my opinion, that the friends, Abel and Hazeletta, are going to who are now roommates, that they're going to define their relationship. I think it's more likely. Wait, aren't pastors a Protestant term and saints a Catholic term? So, fifth generation gaming. The great thing about anime is that it doesn't matter, right? Because this is a medieval style fantasy world, right? Where women who are not part of the priesthood but are connected to, they're not part of a church, a defined church. They're just connected to protectors and knowledge of the world. They're just called saints, just flat term. Not saints, they're saints. They're saints. And then men who belong to a religion that kind of look after them are considered pastors. Did the creator of this light novel do any research towards what these actual terms mean? I don't think they did. As Lord Grasham puts out, anime don't give a shit. Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know, we're doing this, it's quaint, we'll say that. Could she have been called a nun? Sure. Could he have been called a monk? Possibly. Would that have all worked out? Sure. There isn't even a lot of discussion about organized religion, except that a lot of the people that became pastors did it to protect these women from the larger organizations that kind of treat them as demigods and don't treat them as humans. That's a major element of this kind of cute little slow burn romance show, is that a lot of the people that are involved in this know that saintesses not only need to be looked after, so that people don't take advantage of them, but also they need someone in their lives who are going to treat them like a human being and not like a living, god or something. Which is cool. It is a cool thing to just be described in this show. Did I do this wrong? So this goes like that, and then this says this piece goes to there. We do have the little arrows that tell us where these fake ass stuff is supposed to go, but I'm still not quite sure exactly. So then, we need you should always look, even though the instructions were wrong at one point. What are your songs on the Foo Fighters song? What are your thoughts on the Foo Fighters song Saint Cecilia? Better or worse than the anime? I think that Saint Cecilia is is not even in. It's not in my top 5 Foo Fighters songs. It's good, but it's not my. It, if you were like, hey, what's a fucking kick-ass Foo Fighters song? I don't know if I would go Saint Cecilia. I think it would take me a long time before I got to that. Because I am fairly familiar with their catalog, but not overtly familiar. So I think I like the anime better because the anime is a slow burn romance show and is cute. John, Everlong is probably the best Foo Fighters song. But I would hear an argument for My Hero because it's like it's one of those songs that like get you. Monkey Wrench is fun. Monkey Wrench is a fine song. Here's the thing: a bunch of bands could make Monkey Wrench a hit. I think that Everlong and My Hero are like Foo Fighters songs, but I don't know if Monkey Wrench. I feel like other bands could like pull that off. You know what I mean? If you gave that to another band, they could like make something with it. I don't know. There was an old joke by Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal would do, am I weird for preferring the sky as a neighborhood? No, you like what you like. I will say this. Sometimes people go out of their way to like I'm not saying that that's like a B-side or that's like a deep cut necessarily, but there are people who are like they'll be like, well, my favorite Smashing Pumpkins album is The End is the Beginning is the End. And you're like, why? Why the fuck is that your favorite Smashing Pumpkins album? Why of all the Smashing Pumpkins albums, that's the one, like, you didn't even say Siamese Dream because you don't want to say which is the accurate one, which is, of course, the best album by Smashing Pumpkins is Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, because how could it not be? Not your favorite, but the best. I think sometimes people they go out of their way to be like, I have to like a deep cut. And I don't think that's wrong. I think it's honest. What I was going to say about Patrice O'Neal is, Patrice O'Neal, rest in peace, lovely comic, good dude, big old personality, big guy. Patrice had a gag about understanding, like the way to understand white people was to understand white people music. And I think that one of the clips of that was making the rounds. He had it on an album. He did it live. It was a thing he did at radio stations that he talked about on radio stations, was that like, and he talked about, like the songs that just get into, like Bulls on Parade. Bulls on Parade, like this was even before that we found out that like dumbasses that don't know what it's about still like it. But he's like, no, Bulls on Parade. He's like, break stuff. He was talking about like songs that like when the name comes up, and he was talking about like, he goes, the zhuzh, and they're like, what are you talking about? He goes, you know what I'm talking about. In Creep, in the song Creep, there's a point where there's a zhuzh, and white people pop for that. And now when he's saying white people, he does mean white males of a certain age and demographic. But it's true. In Creep is so, like the guitars start coming in and it does a thing. It elicits a response. And that is like, and the Foo Fighters to me are one of those, like, I think it's easier to say, instead of white people, it is easier to say white guy bands. But it is one of those bands where you're just like, yeah, I think I'm going to sing My Hero. Or like the breakdown in Say It Ain't So. Say It Ain't So is, to some people's mind, the only good Weezer song. And those are people that don't like Weezer. They don't like Weezer, but they like the breakdown and saying and so. They like the Dear Daddy, I write you in spite of years of silence. You cleaned up, you found Jesus. Things are good, so I hear. This bottle of Stevens awakens ancient. It's because it's the line. This bottle of Stevens awakens ancient feelings. Like that just hits. Like I knew dudes who would hate the idea that they liked. As someone who doesn't like Weezer, yes, exactly, right? Like dudes that would immediately want you to turn off, like in the garage, that would never want to hear that song, would 100% want you to crank up Say It Ain't So. Because it's got that breakdown and it has that like thing. It's got that like resonance that like hits people. Buddy Holly and My Name is Jonas is pretty good, but I'm not a big Weezer head. Yeah, you totally don't have to be. It'll just be me and Patrick Klepek. We remain Weezer fans of a particular age, of a particular time and place. Big old Weezer heads. You like 2 Weezer albums, and Saying It So is probably my favorite song. That's because of Rock Band. I mean, it's great. I think Maladroit is probably where I checked out, and I checked out far later than some. Because I know people who are just like, the Green album sucks. And I'm like, the Green album's okay. Here's the thing. The real thing is, the B-sides to the Green album are great. The B-sides to Pinkerton are great too. Suzanne from the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back soundtrack. Mwah, lovely. But Green has Sugar Booger, and as you gave Your Love to Me Softly might not be a Green album B-side, but I think it is. You Gave Your Love to Me Softly is so good. Such a lovely song. Also, there's a B-side with the backup singer to the band That Dog, not the lead singer of That Dog. The backup singer of That Dog sings a B-side for Weezer called I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams. If you want to know where Rivers Cuomo's head was at, he wrote a song where the singer of the song is taking responsibility for their actions. They are finally, for the first time in their lives, taking responsibility for breaking up. It is the only, to that time, it was the only Weezer song where anyone ever took responsibility for anything. And he had the backup singer, a lady, for That Dog sing it. Because I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams is about a girl who has realized that she let a good man go. And there's no lyric in there that has to be a guy singing it or a girl singing it. It could be anyone, or a non-binary person could sing it. It is not gendered in any way, but Rivers Cuomo couldn't fucking sing a song about taking responsibility at the time of Green. And that was not a surprise at the time. I was not like shocked to find that out. That didn't break my mind. Good old Rivers. Just don't check out the 8 albums they put out during the pandemic. I mean, look, of course I heard their not that interesting cover of Africa. Weezer's cover of Africa is only interesting because in the music video, Weird Al is there. Weird Al is in the music video, and that is the only interesting thing about their cover of Africa. Otherwise, it's just a cover of Africa. Me telling you that they did a cover of Africa, think of what that would be if modern Weezer sang a cover of that song. That's what it is. No Scrubs is not too bad. Their cover of No Scrubs. I'm a little over bands covering hip hop or R&B because No Scrubs is more of an R&B song with some rap in it. But I'm a little over that myself, but I totally understand. I think that is a serviceable cover. Um, so I do need to, before we move on, I need to tell you about the 12th episode because we talked about Weezer there, and that's fine. We got on a tangent, and I think tangents are totally okay. I do want to just tell you about Undead Murder Farce. Friends that came in the raid, friends that are not aware of the best anime this season, my favorite show this season, obviously, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Fucking looks beautiful, is gorgeous, is sad, is a good adaptation of an arc I don't particularly love. The two arcs I don't particularly love, but like I'm in the minority on that. It's clearly phenomenal. Undead Murder Farce is based on a novel series, not light novels, these are novel series called Undead Girl Murder Farce. And it is a series about an immortal woman whose head has been removed from her body, so she is just a head in a birdcage, that has kind of given up on life, and she has tracked down a man who is slowly becoming a demon. His demon blood is slowly taking over his body, and he will soon lose himself to madness because the demon blood will kill her. And he's like, and she's like, in exchange for killing me, I will prevent you from losing your mind. And he went, cool. Instead of dying, what if we teamed up and we found the man that took your body? Because I have a feeling from what you've said, that's the man that sped up my turning into a demon. Why don't we go track this guy down? And we'll do it by becoming the best and most prolific detectives in the world. I can't find this in black. It's black in color in the booklet. I think this is the piece. If I need a gray of these, I will scrounge around and try to find it in here. But looking through my black parts here, we could also, I'm sorry, we could also go back here to this and see if there is a gray one. Okay, so there is not a gray one of those. There's a black one of those. They gave me the wrong color. That's okay. It's just the shifter in the car. It'll be hard to see it anyway. It's not the end of the world. It's annoying because it's not like they're saying this isn't the right piece, but I'm 99% sure this is what they're looking for. And then I wonder if the part that this clips into is actually black or if they gave that to me in gray or not. So now I need to find that part. Another scandal indeed. Anyway, so Undead Girl Murder Farce is about Undead Murder Farce is about a headless woman, immortal, in a birdcage with her maid, traveling with a guy who is half demon, solving mysteries with one historical figure and then many people from from fiction, I should say, not historical. I gotta get historical out of my brain there. Like Sherlock Holmes is in this shit, and Lupin, the original Lupin, not Lupin the Third. Lupin is in this. The Phantom of the Opera is in it. And in this episode, Victor shows up. Now, Victor is somewhat evidently a Frankenstein's monster, but he is not Dr. Victor von Frankenstein's monster. He is a monster assembled based on Frankenstein's notes and named Victor in homage to the person that made those notes. And of course, he was created by Moriarty because in this, I cannot find this part. I'm going to look to see if this one told me a different color here. I need this peg to go into a thing. I got to find it. This is not the worst thing in the world to be missing, but it is annoying if... Yeah, okay, so that's supposed to be gray. So the piece that this needs to go into that's right there should be gray. Moriarty has a vampire. He has a... I found it. Here we go. I found it. It doesn't seem like there was too much good competition for best of the summer season as much as I enjoyed the Big House Cat show. Yeah, I couldn't watch that because the animation of that is better than the girl that keeps forgetting her glasses or whatever. But Go Hands is a terrible company and they do a poor job with animation. So I stopped watching the House Cat show. Um, it's the best they've ever done, but that is a low bar in terms of animation quality. Yeah, I think that there were plenty of okay shows. Least bad Go Hands, yes. There were plenty of okay shows. So, Aleister Crowley, noted enthusiast of the occult, is in this show. It's just such a weird thing. There's so much weird things, but in this episode, they're trying to figure out, hey, girls keep dying. Is it the werewolves? It's not the werewolves. We're pretty much figuring out. Also, Victor von Frankenstein shows up, or Victor, I should say, not von Frankenstein. Victor shows up. Victor is incredibly reasonable. He's like, hey, we need to know where the werewolves are. I will help you out in exchange for information. Because my partner, who is, of course, a vampire, where is Carmilla, who is from a novella written before Dracula was written, who is considered to be the first vampire in fiction. Carmilla, she can't hang out during the day because she's a vampire. So he's like, hey, my partner can't help us right now. Also, there was a double cross by the humans that Aya was traveling with, the woman who was ahead. Yeah, he's reasonable. They're going to help out. They go and find Suzuka, who is the maid. She's being tried. The werewolf village is blaming her for the deaths of girls, which is very clearly not what's going on, or seemingly not what's going on, but whatever. They find a hidden switch by where a girl died, and they realize, okay, here's this place where this is where the girls have been dying, and then their bodies have been dumped. And because they were killed here, the sound and the smell didn't reach the werewolf. So this is kind of their burial location. And they follow the passage back to the town that they were visiting. The girl, Louise, who was in a wheelchair, instead of just saying that she was murdered, they admit they abandoned her because of her disability, which is fucked. But then they're like, oh, fine. Well, this is we're getting close to the case. Let's free our assistant. Let's go do this. And then apparently the Royce agents, who we thought were on our side, but by the end of the last episode, we found out they're not on our side. They're rallying the village to go kill the werewolves. Everyone's getting swept up. This is a thing in this part of the book here, or the story, is a lot of this, like, normal people being led to doing horrible things in order to, the outsiders are the cause of our problems, where it's very clearly an internal problem that they're blaming on the outside. Also, unfortunately, it looks like the rest of the banquet have arrived, which is Moriarty's crew, and it looks like a showdown is about to happen. And apparently, even though there's going to be this big battle, Aya is like, well, we still need to solve this whole case. Why she needs to solve the case, I don't know. My assumption is, I don't know if solving the case is going to appease the villagers and the werewolves, and everyone's going to be like, oh, it's these people that fucking suck ass. I don't know. I assume that the werewolf parts... Oh, so if you're like, well, why is Moriarty and his weird menagerie of nonsense happening? Oh, there's a good explanation for that. Moriarty is trying to make a chimera, a perfect human, based with using parts of various fantastical races and such. And that perfect human is Jack the Ripper. So that's what this show is. When I tell you that Undead Murder Farce is my favorite show this season, it's not even close. It is so fun. Now, it's so lively and great. Is like my favorite little weird show, Reborn as a Vending Machine. I Now Wander the Dungeon. Yes, because it's a weird isekai about a guy, a vending machine enthusiast, who died and then got reincarnated as a vending machine in a fantasy world. And if you're like, well, Pat, that sounds like the most inactive thing possible. He's just a vending machine. Don't worry. They come up with lots of different scenarios and cases to allow this vending machine to be very important and active. And it's fucking great. Sounds like a farce. Yes, Undead Murder Farce is indeed a farce. They are not wrong. It's very fun. But yeah, Reborn as a Vending Machine, I Now Wander the Dungeon is probably like my favorite weird isekai of like a pretty isekai heavy season. Now, could you argue, well, Pat, obviously Jobless Reincarnation is the best isekai of the season. And from a visual standpoint and a treatment of the source material standpoint, you'd be correct. But also, Rudy sucks, and I don't like that show. That show is gorgeous to look at. It has the magic that they do, I think, is phenomenal. It is a breathtaking series, but I don't give a shit about that. I don't care. I think that show is, again, important to the grand scheme of things. Is this right? Okay, yeah. In the grand scheme of things, because it was the grandfather of modern isekai. That and Sword Art Online defined what modern isekai is, even though Sword Art Online is not an isekai. It's a death game anime, but whatever. Not every, some death games are also isekais. That one is not. I wouldn't say Log Horizon is an isekai either. Log Horizon is another death game. It's trapped in a virtual world, which is not the same. They want it to be the same, but it's not. But the sensibilities of Sword Art Online influenced modern isekai. And then there's postmodern isekai, and throwback isekai, and traditional isekai. There's a lot of different isekai. Different world anime. I just read the first chapter of a manga that it'll be a long time before I talk about it on stream, because there's only one chapter so far. That is twisting the idea of the new popular shonen kind of style manga, which is the kicked/banished. The beginning of the overpowered main character who has been kicked out of a family or banished from an area or kicked out of the hero's party. We've had a couple anime adaptations of that. We're going to get more of those in the future. But this is a take on that where the guy feels like he's going to get kicked out at any time, but it's very clear that everyone else in the party really likes him and respects him, and they don't want him to leave. They just want him to have, like, they recognize how good he is for their party, and also probably have a crush on him because it seems to also be a harem anime, or I should say manga. And I was like, this could be okay, but probably isn't going to be good. But I like that. I like that people are already playing with the latest popular subgenre of the banished. There's another manga that I wasn't reading because I think it's not good, where it's from the point of view of the party that banished a guy, and how they immediately recognize, like, oh, we fucked up, and they're like, well, we can't apologize to him because he's better off without us. We just have to get better and grow and, like, rebuild this, which I think is an interesting way to go. I think that is an interesting way to do that. Wait, did I do this? These are okay. That goes there. They don't do the thing where they're like, flip this around. They don't do that enough, in my opinion. Where they're like, flip it around and going that way. It's weird to say that this knockoff Lego set doesn't have instructions that occasionally frustrating instructions. Weird, right? Anyway, we're going to wrap things up here in a minute. I'm just going to finish this page and then we'll wrap things up. The next stream on Monday, we will finish this thing. We will also most likely start a new model kit, the Hindry Sturm. It's not Strum because it's URM, it's Sturm. The Hindry Sturm, you can see there. Aristofan picked up that kit off my Amazon wish list, which was very kind of Aristofan to do that. So that'll be the next thing that I build when this is completed. It'll be the next thing on our list because it was bought off my wish list, so it jumps the queue and becomes the next thing. I look forward to working on that. This isn't fitting right. Am I doing it wrong? No, this should go like this. This should go like this. This should fit here. And it doesn't fit right. I may have done something wrong here. I don't know. I don't know if I did. I will find out at some point. But this does not feel good here. And I don't know. Yeah, this should fit flush. So I'm going to find out why that's not right. I'm going to do that on my own time. This piece should be flush with these two, and when I put it like that, it isn't. And I don't know why that's the case. So I have to figure that out, and I'm going to do that on my own time. But we are going to wrap things up. We are going to raid. That is how we end every stream around here. We're going to go on a raid. We're going to find someone doing cool shit out there that we want to go hang out with, and we're going to go send them some love. So please hang out. We got a raid tonight, which is awesome. But we got to share the love and go hang out with some other people. As Jim John says, we always end with a raid. That is true. So who are we going to raid tonight? It's a Saturday. Let's see who is streaming. Who is doing stuff that we want to go hang out with? We want to go hang out with... We could do that. How long have they been going? Let's see. How long have they people? Oh, no, that is, they're probably going to wrap. I don't know how long they're going to go. But Xandra is playing Void Stranger. And so we're going to go raid Xandra because Xandra rules. Xandra made all my emotes and is a fun hang. So feel free to come along on this raid. Xandra rules. You'll have a good time in that. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thanks for those that joined in from the raid and hung out. I'll see you on the next one. Again, we'll be back on Monday, finishing this and then starting a new thing. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody. We're going to hit raid now. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.